But we got to begin in Seattle, where Michael Penix Jr. put on just the absolute clinic of clinics on a day where, and we don't need to go Heisman Trophy here because there's so much.
Heisman. Sorry.
Right? Like, we don't have to do that, do we?
No.
Okay.
No.
So, because this is what I was looking at. I live logged this game for CBSSports.com. They both still play 4 teams that are ranked in the top 25 heading into the weekend before the end of the season. There's still so much work left to be done. But, man, when Washington needed to get it done at the very end, and we're going to talk about Dan Lanning's fourth down decisions. We're going to talk about how awesome Bo Nix was on the road with 0 turnovers. Clean game for Oregon. Okay, that's fine. We'll get there. What are the biggest? Do you take Washington more seriously here at 11:37 p.m. Eastern time, Tom, than you did at the beginning of the day?
No.
Okay.
They were a wagon before. They're still a wagon now.
Oh, no. Come on. You said they were a wagon.
They were a wagon.
You said they
This
were
is
a
what
wagon.
wagons win games.
You said they were a wagon. You took Oregon +3.
I did, and I got a push that Washington won the game. Like, it's no, this is that's who Washington was. I mean, they're going to score.
Push.
They're going to score a bunch of points. They're going to be very dangerous on offense. I mean, Penix threw for 300, the 4 touchdowns. Odunze had 128 yards. Polk had 118 yards. Johnson rushed for 100 yards. Like, they are a team that offensively will be able to do that to just about anybody. Because, I mean, Oregon's defense had looked good this season until today. And then defensively, they're going to give up points. It's just going to be a thing of, can we, outscore you? And they can outscore most teams. So, no, my opinion of Washington didn't change today. And my opinion of Oregon didn't change today. It was just a really good classic Big Ten battle. And I really enjoyed it.
I think Tom nailed it. Like, both these football teams are really good football teams. I really don't think that Oregon played that bad a defense. I honestly, like, they harassed Penix. They matched routes pretty well, and they challenged Michael Penix to make difficult throws and those Washington receivers to make big time catches. And they did on both accounts. Like, they said, hey, Washington, like, we're not going to give you the layups. Can you make these hard shots? And Washington did, and deserved to win the game just as much as Oregon did. Like, they did a great job. That was really impressive. I want to see that again. Like, I sign me up. I'd love to see that game played again. And I come at it with, like, yeah, is Penix the front runner for the Heisman? Yeah. Did he win the Heisman today? No. It's too early. There's still too many guys that we'll talk about even on this show. But I mean, that was a hell of an effort from them. I thought Dylan Johnson came up really big for Washington as well, just giving them some balance running the football, right? The Mississippi State transfer. And it was basically all on him running it because their other back, as we know, went down in the preseason. I mean, Odunze and Polk were big time. The third kid who I named, I'm blanking now that I'm on the air,
Jackson.
of course. Yeah, dude, that was big for them as well. I was pretty impressed with what Washington did. I thought their interior offensive line held up enough, right? Like, we knew the tackles were really good. We thought that there may be some problems on the interior. Oregon got some interior pressure, but Washington did enough to keep Penix clean. And, look, I thought Oregon looked really damn good on offense too. They just, times you don't punch it in, right? Like, that's going to happen. They have 500 something yards of offense. I mean, I'm sure Tom and I will argue with each other over this, but I didn't have a problem with the end game decisions. I'm sure, I think the chat does. The only 4th down decision that I had a problem with from Dan Lanning was the decision to go right before the half instead of kick. Because
that's interesting.
You're down 4.
Yeah, Dan Lanning said the same damn thing.
Did he really?
Yeah, after the game,
Okay.
He said right before half was the only one that I looked back at, and I said, wish we could have taken the kick right there.
And I understand the math.
And he said on 3rd and 1, I wish we had gotten the 1.
Sure.
Like he, sort of unpacked it all the way through. And he said it was 100% on me, just like came out from the jump, said this result is on me. Did not try to put the blame anywhere else, not on the kicker that missed the game tying field goal. And, not on any of the other failures that happened on those 4th down conversions in scoring position in the red zone. But
Bo Nix was at fault for the one, not Dan Lanning. It's nice of him to take the blame off him, but if Bo Nix makes a good throw
I was just saying that, like, Dan Lanning in his moment with the media after a heartbreaking loss on the road to Washington in a game where Oregon outplayed Washington all through the second half, like 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Like Oregon's defense was cooking. They were heating it up on Michael Penix. And like you mentioned, the running game that Washington had going in the first half, that was not at all rolling in the second half. It was really having to be some hero ball situations for the Huskies to be able to get any kind of rhythm going offensively. And yet those empty possessions, those empty points in a game that's decided by 3, just, it hurts, man. Really hurts.
I will say, like, I'm fine with him if he didn't like the original one before halftime. I get it. I didn't really have that big of a problem.
Well, going into the halftime, he said we're an aggressive team. That was the thing. It's like he told the broadcast,
you know who you are. You're playing who you are. You're not changing your identity.
They went for 2 after the first touchdown.
Yeah, you're not turtling up. You're doing what you do, which is fine.
Yeah.
And the second 4th down attempt, like I said, that was Bo Nix throwing a ball at his receiver's ankles. That wasn't a bad decision, nor was it a bad play call. It was a bad throw. The final one, I'm probably punting, but I don't hate it. But the reason I'm punting there is, again, I have no problem with them being ultra aggressive because that is their style. It's just Washington scored its 3rd touchdown of the game late in the first half. 5 minutes left in the first half. Their next 5 possessions were interception, touchdown, punt, turnover on downs. They hadn't really been going that well on offense for the last 2 quarters, pretty much. I would have pinned them deep. I would have said, okay, they haven't been able to do it in the 2 quarters. I'm going to make them drive 80 yards now. If they do it, here, tip my cap. But by going for it, like, I understand if you get it, game's over. Totally worth the risk. But if you don't get it, you've given them confidence and a very, very short field. And that to me is like, I don't think Dan Lanning's an idiot for doing it. I have no problem with the decision, but I would have punted there. And I think, a few more years in the Big Ten, Dan will come around. Dan will understand the importance of winning the battle for field position.
With the math on it, right? I think the reason why you go for it when he did is because it does give you the opportunity, because Washington doesn't have to go quite as far, to have the ball to answer, which obviously Tom and I have already talked about a little bit. So it allows you the information to know, okay, how many points do I need? Do I need to go down and get a field goal? And if so, I have time to do so. It's kind of like why you should always take defense first in overtime, right? So that you have the information to know whether the other team scored a touchdown or field goal, or maybe had a turnover, and then you can craft your play calling to it. I think as a defensive coach, and Lanning didn't say this, but my guess here is that they probably didn't feel all that great about their chances of stopping Washington on a 4-down series, right? In that situation, Washington is going to be using all 4 downs. And the odds that Michael Penix is able to drive down the field, whether he has to go 45 or 75, is sort of immaterial, because you're going to give him the underneath stuff for the most part anyway, and he's going to have 4 downs to work with it. I know the math on the one before half doesn't say you have to kick it. Just for me, part of the value there of going is that you stick the opponent with poor field position, right? So like you're on like an EPA chart or like a live betting model. If you stuff your opponent down there and like they're stuck at their own 3, if there's actually time, you are more likely to score next than the opponent is. But that's not the case when there's only like 3 seconds left before the half, right? So that's the reason I had the problem with that one. I kind of think that what Lanning did in game was smart and will be copied by other opponents or other coaches, because it's kind of basketball-y, right? It's almost like playing a 2-for-1 in hoops. Okay, how much of the shot clock do we use now? No, we go for it because we know we're going to be able to force them out of their possession and then get one more possession back, right? Like playing a 2-for-1, having the information edge is pretty key.
Chip, what would you have done?
With the one before half?
No, the one at the end of the game. You punting or you going? Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
The first of many crucial Saturdays in college football will provide some shakeups in the new AP Top 25 with teams falling out of the rankings and plenty of movement within the poll. As I write a story here live on the podcast. No, if at the very end, I do think that there was valid gripes from Oregon fans with the way that those 3rd and 4th down calls went, right? Like to see Bo Nix throw it in the dirt. I understand Tez Walker was double covered over there on the left, like in the flat. Like that's, you're not trying to like throw an interception and make it any worse, but you're giving Michael Penix 53 yards. Like to the point where, what was the conversation after the Huskies scored? Oh, did they leave Bo Nix too much time? Right? If you're looking at the clock, I don't hate the decision to go for it right there. Those early calls, oh man. Tom, you mentioned in the workroom, everything comes out in the wash when you fail to score, but then end up getting it right back and getting a touchdown. Tough game, man. Tough. I've got no complaints for Oregon here, right?
You know what that was?
What?
That was 2 playoff caliber teams playing a playoff caliber game.
Yeah.
I'll like you said earlier, but I'll happily watch it again. If they want to meet again for the Pac-12 championship, I'm in. Let's do it right now. After watching USC and Notre Dame, after watching Washington State, just give me those two again.
Yeah, after watching Washington State, after watching UCLA, Oregon State, after watching USC, Notre Dame, there is no question. It is Washington, Oregon line.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so now Oregon has to do the egg and the spoon. Do you think they can navigate the rest of the schedule without another loss?
What else do they have here?
Oh, buddy, it's tough.
It's tough. I mean, they can, but will they is a very different question.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I know Bo Nix's numbers were good today. I don't feel like Bo Nix played all that well. I think even a lot of the passes he completed were inaccurate. I think his receivers bailed him out a lot. I think he was throwing behind guys. I think he was throwing at people's
Bucky
feet.
Irving is the MVP of the offense for Oregon today. And the offensive line, which oh my gosh, Jackson Powers Johnson coming back into the game after looking like he was going to get knocked out. It's my hero right there.
My big beefy boy.
Yeah.
Little Jason Kelsey.
Agree with you on Nix, by the way. I look, all of these guys who could have gone pro and came back and they got an NIL bag. The real NFL bag is always bigger. There's a reason they came back, okay? For the most part. Like maybe if you were hurt or something and you wanted a chance to prove yourself, which I know Nix got dinged, but like Bo Nix is a good college quarterback. He's pretty mature, doesn't put the ball at risk a whole lot, but I don't think he's an enormous difference maker. You know, Penix outplayed him on a down-to-down basis, given the difficulty of the throws that he had to make, I think.
Yeah, I think he made one great throw to Troy Franklin, and then the rest were all kind of just like easy throws, and they weren't all good.
Yeah.
The 30-yard pass on the left sideline?
No, the 49-yarder down the middle.
Ooh, okay, gotcha. Franklin, it seemed like at the end, after he'd been quiet for like the first 2.5 quarters, it's like, okay, let's just best player. Let's go. I mean, it was me playing NFL Blitz.
Wow, there's a blast from the past.
At the arcade, blast from the past.
Remember when they had arcades?
They still do.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They have arcades. Yeah.
Well, they have like Dave and Buster's. They have like adult arcades. I'm talking about, are there arcades that kids go to?
Yeah.
No, parents take their kids to it because the parents want to play the games.
Bowling alleys still have good arcade games.
Okay, but it's a bowling.
I mean,
alley.
I take my son to play some Area 51. We got to step. We got to
See?
take the chair. Well, don't tell Mags. But like we take the chair, and he that's I don't know if that's I don't know what that's rated, but it's a lot of quarters because his character is just constantly getting waxed, and I'm like, dude, I'm like our kill count is like 170 to 14, man, but he loves it. So whatever. It's aliens.
Whatever,
And
it's
robots.
aliens.
Yeah.
All right. Back
Can
on
we
track.
navigate the schedule? I don't know.
Yeah, you didn't even look at the rest of the schedule. Come
I
on,
did.
man. They
We
both
didn't
got
read,
play
I looked. We didn't read it off.
Look, they both got to play Utah. They both got to play Oregon State. They both got to play Washington State. Like they both got to play USC. Like it is legitimately of the remaining competitive opponents, they each have 5 that are dangerous, and I think 4 of them are shared. And I think we all agree coming out of this game that one of the takeaways is that I want to see them play again, and I want to see them play on a neutral field. And yet, everything we know about college football says that, I don't know, they're probably going to lose.
Yeah, I think it was our friend Stephen Godry, the irascible one, who said that whoever wins Washington, Oregon, he looks forward to touting them as a playoff contender only to watch Utah crush them when they run into him, because that's just what Utah does every year.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
which
I'm
game do
crazy.
they lose?
I think they're going to do it.
I do too. I think they're better than everybody left on their schedule, and that's really a big factor. But again, they could lose to Oregon State at the end of the year, like the final kind of civil war before they leave, and Oregon State's going into wherever the hell Oregon State will end up going to. The Beavers are going to be kind of jacked up for that one. I don't know. They're really good. They're going to. I would say I don't think Utah. I mean, like, if Cam Rising ever even comes back, because like we're halfway through the year, boys. Like, at what point is he coming back? If he's coming back, I don't know. So
Yeah, I don't know if you're doing like these stories and these podcasts, kind of like Spidey sense is up on that about Cam Rising coming back at all this year.
Utah is what it is.
yeah, it's Pac-12 Iowa.
No, don't try to like fictionalize.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't fictionalize what you saw Cam Rising do in other seasons and try to apply that to what Utah has been. Utah is a solid team, but it is what it is. We should take Utah for what it has been so far this season. Limited, but extremely good at what it does well.
Does Oregon still have to play Arizona?
No.
No.
Oh, thank God. Because Noah Fafita would take it to him.
The road schedule, if you get past Utah, is fairly friendly. Like, it's at Arizona State, but if you're a serious playoff contender, you are not losing in Tempe at this Arizona State team, right?
No.
To me.
So, by the way, we got an awesome live audience right now. Thank you. If you are just tuning in, please subscribe. Like, we have an awesome community that we want you to be a part of. The Cover 3 Tailgate, you can be a part of. Come and chat. Come and be a part of it. So please hit that subscribe button and come and jump in, where you will find an audience that will understand the intricacies of the Pac-12 picture. You don't get that a lot of places.
We're not just sending the schools to different conferences.
No, we are not responsible for conference realignment. We've offered our services for being a search firm for coaching hires.
Still willing to do it.
We will undercut Parker Executive Search Firm. I'm telling you right now, we will charge less than you. I don't know if it'll be the same result.
Shots fired. Like, is